is represented. So good morning, honorable colleagues. In the towns and villages of the Northeast, our fellow citizens have been and continue to be the first victims of a brutal insurgency that seeks to destroy our country and remake our world in the image of a discredited ideology. On Saturday, the 28th of November 2020, 43 of our fellow citizens in the town of Zabamari were cruelly murdered and decapitated by insurgents of the Boko Haram terrorist organization. 43 people who set out to their farms to harvest their meager yields became in one afternoon the newest victims of the evil that has brought untold grief to too many for far too long. For more than a decade, we have confronted the evil that is Boko Haram. We have not won and do not come close to winning the war against terrorism in Nigeria. Yes, we have recovered territory and land in places where not so long ago the black flags of Boko Haram flapped in the desert air as an affront to our nationhood and a rebuke to the failures that brought us to that ignoble end. The federal government has done so much and done all it can, or as much as it can, but yet this remains unabated. We must rethink this war on terror. We must ask ourselves what it is we are doing wrong. What have we failed to do? How is it that despite the billions in resources and despite the giant strides and spirited efforts of the federal government and the countless lives lost, we still are at the mercy of murderers who offer only the promise of death and the certainty of destruction and condemnation in this life and the next? Now is the time to ask difficult questions. We ask these questions in the sincere hope that through our collective and concerted search for answers, we might arrive at a solution that spares us further bloodshed. We ask these questions in the hope that the answers we find will heal our land and make our people whole. We ask these questions because we must. In the legislative agenda of the 9th House of Representatives, we have committed to specific strategic goals, including improved funding of security agencies, better engagement with local communities, innovative, proactive, and technological-driven responsiveness, among others. These goals will help us to achieve the overall goal of a more secure country where people can go about their business free from terror in whatever form. Whilst we seek lasting solutions to the problems that threaten us, improving the lives of the people who have lost the most from this conflict must be part of our commitment in the interim. We will consider interventions that compensate the people of Zabamari for the loss of their harvest, so that they are not so deprived that they return quickly to the killing fields where already they have lost so much. We will not deviate from these commitments. The continued existence of our country and the progress of our nation's people depend on it. And all of us honorable members of this House of Representatives, God bless the memory of the departed. May he grant succor to the ones they've left behind. God bless you all.
I stand to move a motion of urgent public importance myself and 9 of my co-sponsors. All of us are from Borno State, for the urgent need to condemn and investigate the insane killing of unarmed farmers in Jere local government of Borno State. Last week. Among the sponsors, Mr. Speaker, including the Deputy Whip, the Minority Leader, Shehu Koko, and many more, because of its sympathetic nature of how brutally these young farmers, some of them are even secondary school students. I so move to take the motion, Mr. Speaker. The House saying that more than 43 people were killed in an instant and barbaric attack of rice farmers in Zabarmari, Jere local government of Borno State on the 28th November 2020. Troubled that the attackers died of agricultural laborers working in rice fields and slit their throats, some beheaded in Zabarmari, Koshebe, Gudda axis of Borno State, village near Jere local government. Disturbed that some of the victims were laborers of other states of the Federation who had traveled to work on the rice farm field in Borno State. Worried that the exact number of people killed in the incident is not yet known, over 44 dead bodies were recovered, buried, all of them slaughtered along with 6 others with serious injuries, and many more residents are reported missing. Recognize that the funeral of the victims on the Sunday 29th of November 2020, Governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Umar Azin, MNI FNSC, stated that our people are in very difficult situation. They are in 2 different extreme conditions. In one side, if they stay at home, they may be killed by hunger and starvation. On the other hand, they go out for their farmland and risk getting killed by insurgents. Moreover, by inability of the military and other security forces in averting the continued wanton killing of Boko Haram insurgents, bandits, terrorists in the northeast and across the country. Aware that President Buhari has condemned the senseless killing of several hardworking farmers by terrorists as the entire country is hurt by the disturbance. Also aware of the urgent need for the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to recognize the security architecture of the country, to end the insurgency in the northeast, banditry in the northwest, and all acts of terrorism across Nigeria. Resolved to ask the federal government to declare a state of emergency in the nation's security sector. Condemn the killing of unarmed civilian and farmers of Zabarmari village of Jere Federal Constituency in Borno State by suspected Boko Haram insurgency on Saturday. Call on the central bank to immediately key in the farmers at Zabarmari and environs to the dry season rice farming project and look into the ongoing ANCO program to proper harvest and recovery to their ANCO project. The House should set up a committee to commiserate with the Governor of Borno State immediately. Observe a minute silence in honor of the victim of the incident that lost their lives. I so moved, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Federal Constituency from Enugu State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I bring these amendments and I wholeheartedly adopt the submissions made by our colleague Honorable Solomon with regard to the killings of our citizens in Borno State. Mr. Speaker, I also make this amendment mindful of the observations of the Sultan of Sokoto that northern Nigeria is the most insecure place to live in this country. 2 is that our farmers don't have to take permission to go to farm. 3 is that we cannot be at the mercy of Boko Haram. We have DICON, which is Defense Industries Corporation, that ordinarily should be responsible for manufacturing of arms in this country. And you know, Mr. Speaker, the Leahy law forbids any country, whether it is an allegation or it is true, that breaches human rights to import arms from the United States. And that has been responsible for the past 10 years why Nigeria is not able to import the necessary arms needed for prosecution of this war. So I will ask the House that we mandate the House Committee on Defense and Army to investigate the Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria on their manufacturing status to determine their level of preparedness regarding weapons needed for national use. 2 is we have ordered some equipment from overseas. So the House should mandate the House Committee on Defense and Finance to investigate the status of the procurement of $1 billion worth of equipment since 2018. 3, since non-state actors can bear arms and kill our citizens without any let or hindrance, Mr. Speaker, the House should seek an amendment to the Firearms Act to give eligible Nigerians the right to bear arms. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
And I represent the good people of Anoche Shimifera constituency. I'm from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion as moved by Deputy Minority Leader Honorable Toby Okechukwu. I so second.
Conferred by the Legislative House, powers and privileges, acts of welfare, laws of the Federation of Nigeria, and other statutes, practices, precedents, usages, and customs. Mr. Speaker, the reason why I raise this issue, I am one of the co-sponsors of this motion, as well as other members of the law, and we have resolved that prayers of motion should remain where it is.
Please allow Honorable Jaha, please. Go ahead.
My name is there as a co-sponsor, and I raise my hand. I want to contribute as a co-sponsor of that particular motion. And I realized by the time he was reading the motion, the prayers, he enumerated some prayers that we have all agreed is going to be first here. Mr. Speaker, I gave out my life because of my people. Everybody can testify to that. So I fear nobody except God. The resolution we put is that we are going to invite Mr. President to come and explain. Some members, in fact, I even got a single member of this parliament said, if my people are displaced, who elected me to come here? You didn't know that I was elected in ID term. But secondly, I've been saying that these security forces have been given all the support to the job. If we invite them, they will say they don't have enough equipment. Yesterday, the president said he has given them all the support to do the job. Unfortunately, they failed to do it. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I said on the floor of this house that Nigerian armed forces are not taking the bottle to their doorsteps. And everybody is on that, yes, they are not taking the bottle to their doorsteps. Yesterday, the president confirmed that this time around they should be taking the bottle to their doorsteps. It shows in the past they have been on offensive.
The battle to their doorstep.
Honorable Honorable, you have a right to move an amendment. Nobody can take that away from you. Well, this is an appeal from the chair. Because we are talking about security matters, you and I know that the channel of discussion of security matters such as this will not be to invite the president to come and disclose issues of security and what they are doing. It will be counterproductive. And I understand the feelings and the emotions which you display and which you've always displayed on issues such as this. And I share that passion, I share that emotion. But in being, as parliamentarians, we must sometimes balance it and not just be a knee-jerk with what is actually practical. Like I said, the prayers were all encompassing. By asking this president to declare a state of emergency, which was part of the prayers, it allows for extraordinary measures. That singular, there are 3 or 4 prayers, but that singular one prayer is more important than the president coming to tell us anything. If they can declare a state of emergency in security matters, it allows for the gendarmes, it allows for the mercenaries, it allows for whoever we want to bring in. Because without that state of emergency, we cannot even do what your governor is asking us to do, which is to invite mercenaries and foreign mercenaries. We cannot constitutionally do that. So that's why that prayer, the prayer was well thought out to allow extraordinary measures in a state of security emergency. So it's an appeal so that we don't react based on the passion we all feel. I read a statement on the floor of the House before we even started on this issue, and I hope with devotion and the prayer that should suffice. So, Honorable Jara, I'm appealing to you, can we just, because of what it involves in security matters, rather than asking the president to come to the House.
Everything I'm doing it because I will be the support of the members. If members say I should withdraw, I will withdraw. My concern is let my constituents know that we are not here bench warning. That's the most important thing. Let them understand that we are doing our work part and we allow the executive to do their work part. And God is watching us and is going to answer us.
Hassan Ado Dogwa, I represent Dogwa to the Moda Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Kano State. And by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the leave of the members of this House, I am the leader of the 9th House of Representatives. Mr. Speaker, I rise to add my voice, very strong voice, to the motion moved by Honorable Satomi, Engineer Satomi. And I want to believe no single member here will have his voice away or against what Satomi has moved this morning. Everybody as a human being and as a member representing constituents and being a Nigerian, and for whatever is happening anywhere else, every part of this country is affected directly or indirectly. Honorable Satomi has spoken very well, and I believe those that are supposed to hear that have heard him very loud. Mr. Speaker, you have also exhibited openly your concern, your emotions for what is happening in the Northeast and some part of the country as well. Security is the business of government. There is no doubt about that, Mr. Speaker. The business of every government is to provide for security and welfare of the people. And wherever this security is being breached, Mr. Speaker, it causes a lot of cause for concern. I would like to, on this note, Mr. Speaker, say, while I have every support for his motion, but I would like to say that based on what you have said here, that on the basis of the nature of our security situation, Mr. Speaker, that I want to amplify on the appeal you made to Honorable Jah
that some issues may not necessarily have to warrant inviting Mr. President to the floor of the House to come and explain. These are security issues. I also want to appeal to members of this great House that while I share the same emotion and concern for the matter raised, I want to appeal and still emphasize on the appeal by the Speaker that members do not have to go this far. I would like to appeal to you that we have so many ways to kill the rat. We have so many ways and options to reach out to the executive. But we do not have to necessarily invite Mr. President to come to the floor here and explain, because certain explanations to do with the security nature of the country may be too sensitive to be expressed here in public. So,
Honorable colleagues, please.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, it is on this note and on the strength on the point you make that some security issues are not only sensitive, they are too confidential to come and be discussed on the floor and to the cameras. I would like to plead with members that we will reach out to Mr. President, maybe through the leadership, and we will talk to Mr. President and whoever is involved that action has to be taken. Not just action, more action must be taken proactively to stop what is happening in the Northeast. But I plead with you to please allow the leadership of the House to manage this aspect of our concern. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, and that is my take.
Because of the sensitivity of the security nature, now we cannot invite Mr. President to the House to bring the House issue of security. Security should always be discussed across the board. Like I've said, Mr. Speaker, he's trying his best. Mr. President is doing his best, like all of us know. We are the people that are affected by this.
And I'm bold to say, well, a lot of these no's and shouting down where it's coming from. Well, no, and I'm very disappointed. But for now, so we can resolve this matter amicably, because it's not the spirit with which we started this night assembly. It's not. It's not. And we will not start a division on any basis at this stage. So now I think I will just resolve the executive session and resolve this matter.